God wrote his love on a hillside so long ago. For you and for me, Jesus died as love's greatest glory was told. I love you. I love you. That's what Calvary said. I love you. I love you. I love you. Written in red. Down through the ages, God wrote his love with the same hands that suffered and bled, giving all that he has to give. A message so easily read. I love you. I love you. That's what Calvary said. I love you. I love you. I love you. Written in red. I love you. Written in Amen. I don't know about yourself, but that song really got me. I'm exceptionally happy today. Not only because it's the Sabbath, which usually makes me happy, but it's been, my feeling is that it's been a long time that I'm not coming to Camden, because last month the service was there at Parsons with all the three churches and pastor from the conference, Pastor Mackenzie. It was a blessing. But also I'm happy because I see that our church is progressing, moving forward. I'm happy to see those screens, to see how the media has it all set. Now we can control here, have the message here, the sermon here, and the remote here. You see, I have nothing on my hands. Isn't that amazing? I'm happy that we have a curtain on the back. But most of all, I'm happy for some of the faces that are here. It's been a long time I don't see you, sister. We've been praying for you. And don't get discouraged. It seems like the devil is trying to strike on you hard with several things. But if the Lord is allowing it, He has something in mind. He will not do it that just for free, just for nothing. I'm also happy to see you, Brother Kenny. And I'm happy that I have a friend with me. He's from the same island where I was born. And although I never met him before, I met him when we were preaching in Boston. And he has decided to move out of that city and come to the countryside. And it was a great step. He's now in Uchee Pines as part of the staff there. And this is a blessing. But I'm happy to see you all. And I'm happy because we are in the new year. You know, when I came to the district, the pastor, the president said, he said a sentence that marked me. He said, thank God for new beginnings. The Lord is good. You know, His mercies endure forever and are renewed every morning, but also every year, isn't it? So friends, today we will have a message that will be a little bit different. The title of the message is The First. And yes, we are not already in the first day of the year, but we are still on the first month, and it's going very fast. How many of you felt that 2021 went really fast? I mean, we are already in January 2022, and we need to catch the train. We need to catch it up. So, but also this is a special message because it's a message that is more in the practical side. As I said, I'm happy that things are progressing with Camden. I'm going to put these down. Call me OCD. I might be a little bit. But just as I move around, I don't want to bump on anything. I promise media team I'll put it back when I finish. If I forget anything, put the sign there. Okay. And I was saying, many times we run the risk of being too spiritual. And you might say, Pastor, can we be such a thing? Yes. When our spirituality is nothing but spirituality and has no practical application in life. That's why it says that he that is only praying will soon stop doing it, because if you don't have a practical application. And I see our youth, I see our families, our couples, in our church in Camden. I think we need a lot of boosting with practical things for life that are still connected with spiritual things. Sometimes the devil makes it that if you want to get good professional training, you will only find it worldly. If you want to learn to edit video, or if you want to learn 3D, it's only worldly videos teaching you. It's not spiritual people. But the other extreme is when you have people that are only spiritual, only talk about God, but they don't know to do anything practical in life. They don't know how to accomplish. They are not, we should be the head and not the tail, right? So today the sermon will have a spiritual side, but it's going to bring you tools. I would suggest you have your pen and paper with you. It's going to bring you tools for life, practical things that will help you accomplish those New Year resolutions that sometimes we can't accomplish. And I have to say that my message today is specially tailored for the youth. I have the youth in mind. Don't feel aside. You can still listen. I'm not going to ask you to leave the room. And there's a lot for you there. It will serve everyone. But I think we will make it better. And so this will help you with practical tools. So the sermon will have Bible text, will have Bible inspiration, but very applied to the practical things of life. So bear with me for that and understand the goal today. So let me start by asking you this. So we are already passing all that hype that we have in New Year's. Everybody makes resolutions. The first tip that I would like to give you is, if you are going to make resolutions for the new year, start them in December. Amen. Usually when we are waiting for New Year, they don't happen but in New Year's. So when we want to do something, we don't have to wait for a specific date. You know, landmarks and icons are good, moments are good, dates are good, but you can start right away. So let me say this. If you are planning that in January 2022, I'm going to start exercising, start doing it in December 10th. Start now or then, right? And my question to you is, how are your plans for this year going? How are your New Year's resolutions going? Are you keeping them? You know, sometimes January is still easy to keep. When we start going into other months, that's when it started failing. You know, it's not easy to plan for the future and keep it and have a follow-up. But today I would like to start with a little exercise, and I would like to have your cooperation. Now, I was saying this is especially addressing the youth, but I have a good part for the children, and I have a children's story that I think you will like, so children, be ready. And I have a part that I think will interest everybody. So I would like to start with a question. If I would promise you now that a week from now, I would bring you to each one of you, either an apple or marshmallows. Okay? One apple or one marshmallow 1 week from now. Which one would you want? Now I know you might feel a little bit, oh, what are people going to think? So this is vegan marshmallow, okay? Okay, so those who would like to have marshmallows, let me see your hands, please. Okay, I see some marshmallow people here and some others that are wanting marshmallow but not raising their hands. And those who would like to have apples 1 week from now. Okay, you want apples and marshmallows. You can only choose one, okay? Only one, all right? Let me make this a little bit more challenging, all right? Well, 1 week from now, why 1 week from now, right, Christian? Why not now? Let's say I have a box in my car. Let's say if I would have a box in my car right now, with apples and another box with marshmallows. I want to see now again if right at lunchtime I will be giving you apples or marshmallows, vegan marshmallows. I want to see again the hands of those that would like to have marshmallows. Okay, and those who would like to have apples. All right. Now, I'm not going to expose you, but researchers have found that when you tell somebody an option like this, if you say for a week from now, here's what happens. You will have half the people most likely going one way and half the people going another way. But if you tell them it's right now, the number of people that will choose marshmallows will rise. And people will be more interested in something that is going to happen now than in something that is going to happen only a week from now. There's this lady, and I want to encourage you to, of course, selecting carefully, to watch some of those lectures, TED Talks. TED Talks are lectures that are about practical things of life that help people in a lot of things. This lady, Sylvia Barcelos, she is explaining about these statistics and these studies, and they are the core of what I would like to talk to you today. So, when you say is something a week from now, half of the people will go for a healthy choice, where the other half will choose something that is unhealthy or not as good, but not as healthy, but that they like, that is good, that is appealing. While if you tell them, I'm going to give you this option now, the number drops for 2 out of 10. So 3 out of 10 are now saying, okay, I thought better about this apple stuff. I'm going to go marshmallows now, okay? Isn't this interesting? Did you find this interesting? So when it's something for the future, people think, yeah, half of the people say, yeah, healthy, why not? But when it's something for now, we see a change in the scenario. And the conclusion is that people like to make good plans for the future. So when it's for the future, they think about good things, good plans and everything, versus now they like what is appealing. And I want to bring this home. So everybody knows that healthy things are good. So when they think rationally, they say, yeah, healthy apples, yeah, a week from now, yeah. But when they think about now, they think about what they feel like. It comes from reasoning to feelings. And I want you to understand how that affects you, because the Marshmallow Test was made with the Stanford psychologists in the 60s and helps you understand this. I'm going to go, as I said, I'm going to bring several practical things. It's more for the youth. I don't want the youth to feel that we are just talking spiritual things here. We are bringing those spiritual things to the practical level. So we're going to leave the apples aside a little bit. Sorry, the apple guys. But I'm going to go a little bit for marshmallows now. The marshmallow study was made with kids around age 4. And this is a study. You can do that with your kids and try. In fact, I'm going to reveal something soon. But they will lock a 4-year-old kid in a room by himself or by herself for 15 minutes, give him or put in front of him a marshmallow and say, if you are able to stay in this room for 15 minutes and not eat this marshmallow, I will give you another one. So it's like, if you resist for 15 minutes eating this marshmallow, I will give you after 15 minutes another one. And you know what they found? They had the cameras and they saw what the kids were doing. And some of them, you know what they were doing? They will smell the marshmallow, looking at it and not eating. Other will be licking, because licking is still not eating the marshmallow. And there was one or more that were eating tiny bites. I'd say, okay, yes, tiny bites, they probably won't count that as eating the marshmallow. But the sad news is that 2 out of 3 kids would not resist 15 minutes without eating the marshmallow, even if they were going to receive another one. So I don't know if you are seeing this. They would rather have 1 marshmallow now than wait to have 2 marshmallows later. Are you with me? So this is telling us the priorities. To make the situation worse, we could consider probably several marshmallows. And still there will be a lot of people that even if you're offering them 5 marshmallows in 15 minutes later, they will still not resist to eat 1 marshmallow now and lose all the other 4. Isn't this quite serious? I want you to understand this experience has been made with several other things. For instance, it was made also with cookies. In fact, I'm going to make a confession here. I did that experience with my kids. When we were in Spain studying theology, I locked each one of them in one different room with a cookie, and I said, if you wait there and not eat the cookie, I'll give you another one. Now, of course, I'm not going to reveal the results of that experiment. It's a research. I have the data that will confirm it. But the thing is that this behavior, researchers have found that is not something that is applicable only to food. I want you to notice how interesting it is. Because God started showing us in the Bible, the first experience we find in the Bible, the first challenging test, is about food. And we know in inspiration that it tells us that the problem with food is not only food, it's appetite. And you can apply it to other things. If you control your appetite, you will be most likely able to control other things. If you don't have self-control with your appetite, most likely you will not have with other temptations. So researchers have found that this is applicable to other things in life. The same concept goes, for instance, for exercise. Look at this, the now and later thing. People will sign up for the gym now. It's quite a rational, emotional decision. They are thinking about the future. Doing exercise is good, of course. So they make plans for good and healthy things for the future. And emotionally, they sign up now, believing that they are going to exercise later. But when the real moment comes, the now then, I don't feel like going today. I'm going to skip today. Nobody says, I'm going to skip the gym for good. I'll never go to the gym because I feel like resting. No. We all say today. Oh, today I had a long day. I'm not going to do it. The same thing applies with health. People say, I'm going to start a diet later. But that Monday usually doesn't come, right? Because now emotionally we want, oh yeah, I need to lose some weight or I need to have strength in my muscles. In the future, I will do a healthy thing. But when the Monday after Monday comes, the day comes, you don't do the diet. Savings, it's another example. Money. Everybody knows and agrees that saving some money, putting some money aside is good. Oh yeah, you can be wealthy with that. Sarah had a family-related person that became a millionaire, a very wealthy person, with just one rule. He said, every money that I get, I'm going to put half of it aside. It's like it doesn't exist. I only have half of it. So if you would get $1,000, he will pretend he only had 500 and not touch the other 500 and started collecting that money and then started investing it and eventually became a millionaire. So we all know that saving is good. So we'll say, I'm going to start saving on my next paycheck, right? But then when the moment comes, you look at the money, you see the things you could buy, and you realize that saving means that you will have to be depriving yourself of some of the acquisitions you could make. And that's when the real problem then comes. So today I would like you to follow me with these things because they will help you. We are many times over-optimistic about the future plans that we plan to accomplish, but then eventually we cannot. So I would like to analyze with you this as we dive into this. And I'm sure this will give you very much good tools for your life. So notice this. For instance, people prefer to get comfort food right now than to save that money to buy something greater later. If you ask a kid, would you like to have a bicycle? They would say, yeah. And if you ask them, would you prefer to invest all your money and blow them in candies or ice cream or have a bicycle? Of course, rationally they will say, yeah. But when they have the option to get that little candy or that little sweet and save the money, they prefer to get the comfort food right away. We all think about collecting money, but if we have the option to spend a little money now and get something we want, we will prefer that than to become a millionaire. And as I said, we will prefer to enjoy something good and sweet now than being healthy later. You know, let me open my heart with you. What is this about cotton candy? I mean, what is this about a food that you cannot even bite or hold? When you bite it, it goes right away, right? Why? Look at apples. It's still there. You chew it. It's nutritious. It's go there. Why are we so dragged by cotton candy when apple is so much more, So, and the last example that I want to give you is one that we are all familiar with, is purchase. Everybody thinks about money later as for savings, except for buying. When we think about buying, we think about now. I want it and I want it now. That's why we have home delivery same day. People cannot wait for the next day. In those old days, if you would buy something, sometimes the guy would have to build it for a week, a month, or it will take a long time until it will be ready. But we are not ready for that now. We want it, and we complain with the guys. The guy got here 30 minutes late. Like the world is going to end like in 30 minutes, right? Now, I want you to notice how credit card companies, they found that really interesting. In the old days, if you want to buy something, you have to collect all that money in the piggy bank under the mattress or something like that. Then you go to the store with that big stack. I remember once we were in Brazil needing to exchange some money, and it was some dollars or euros, or we have even both, I don't know. When we got there to the place, and the guy started giving us a stack of money, the guy was looking at us like, you guys are going to take this like that? I said, what's the problem? No, I'm going to give you. He gave me a bag that you put the money in, you stack inside your pants and you go like nothing is happening. It's made to, or under your jacket to disguise. But look, you would go to the store with a stack of money and you say, I want that. And the guy would say, it's such an amount of money. And you go inside. It's painful. You see all that money, you see your stack going down. Some of you don't even know what I'm talking about. But in old days, it was like that. You see all that money going, you start thinking about all the sweat you had throughout the months to get that, and now it's gone. So the guys from the credit card company said, it's no good, because some people will refrain from buying. Let's make it simple. We give them a card that they just swipe. You see, they don't make even a difference. It's like $10, $500, $10,000. It doesn't require any more special effort to swipe $10,000, then he swiped $5. And then they make it okay. Still, we need another little touch there. You see, we are all happy when you go, ding, approved. You know, like, approved. It was not denied. You were approved to spend your money. Did you notice that? They ripped you off. And you're all happy. It became a victorious moment when you're spending. So, I want you to keep all this in the scenario as we talk today about how the same concepts are applicable to spiritual life. So, we are coming to a very clear conclusion. People prefer instant pleasure than long-term benefits. Do you agree with me with this? Can I see your hands of those who agree with me? I'm not going to ask those who disagree, but if you disagree, life will teach you with time. For instance, people that want to quit smoking, it's not that they don't know that smoking is bad. It's not that they don't want to quit smoking or drinking or eating too much or eating sugar. Or it's not that people don't want to exercise. All those, the problem is that all those are long-term benefits. They are now more touched, more impressed with the pain of doing or not doing something now than the benefits. When the person is smoking, intellectually they know that one day later they might be sick and die. But now it hurts them more to not have that one more cigarette. I don't know if you notice how spiritual this can become. You see? Because in spiritual life, sometimes we have the same thing. So in one hand, we have the bad stuff that you know you should not be doing. You know it's not good. And the good stuff you know you should be doing. But how do we cope with it now? You know, how real is heaven one day? It's going to have no diseases. We're going to live forever. And everything is good. No violence in heaven. No enemies. No one that will hate you. Yeah, that's very good. Heaven is good. But my paycheck is now. My car is now. My house is now. So if I have to choose to make more money or come to the prayer meeting is good, heaven is good. I still can have it. I'm not going to say I don't want heaven. I need this extra cash. I need this extra position or promotion. Are you following me? The same concept goes to our life. But I'm going to take you to a little trip that will show you how dangerous these can be. Because we reject immediate sacrifices. We prefer little rewards now. You know, when you open an ice cream, you're eating it. You know, I'm saying one of those big cans, you know. You're eating it. It's a vegan one. And we vegan, you know, the devil made all these subsidies to make us a peace. That sausage has no meat. Don't think about all the chemicals they have. That ice cream has no milk. Who cares about the tons of sugar there is in it? Because you're appeasing yourself. Because you're getting a little reward now. And it's better for you than the large prize later. I want to give you two examples of that. For instance, when somebody, and I'm going to address a little bit more of the youth, when somebody buys something, for instance, you have seen all those advertisements on TV. Advertisement on TV follows an acronym, which is IDA. It's attention, interest, desire, and I will tell you right away what is the last one. So first they call your attention. Are you tired of cleaning your carpet? Oh man, don't tell me about it. I'm tired to the bone. It's every week I have to go through that. It says, we have a solution for you. You won't have to clean your carpets anymore. So what? You're starting already desiring it. Then they show you this guy. They call your interest now. They're making you desiring it. They show you this guy. He puts 2 drops of this kind of magic soap and the carpet starts going self-cleaning. And you're like, I didn't even know this existed. Now you want it. And they know if they will stop there, you will still want that product. It's a very good product. You don't mind paying all that money because it's really going to save you a lot of effort. But if they will leave it there, you will not buy it. So they add something. The last A is action. It's called a call to action. Call now and get 50% off of the price. We increased 100% for you to get this discount. They're not telling you that. But this is to make you take an action. Because we might want good things, but if we don't do them now, we will forget. Even if we are really interested in that. So they want you to do that right away. And I'm bringing you to practical things in life. I want you to know that this applies to many things in life. When you have rebates is just a way to convince you to do it, because you could be too rational thinking, I don't know, I want that, I need that, but no, this has a rebate. A rebate? Yeah. Sales, we all know about Black Friday. I noticed something very interesting last Black Friday, because Black Friday is now getting to Europe. We didn't have that before. All the Fridays were equal, no black one, but now we are getting that. And the point that I noticed is this. I was following a hard drive that I wanted to buy. And I'm getting to Thanksgiving, and I'm checking it, and I'm thinking, tomorrow, Black Friday, it might go down. And when the Thanksgiving day was getting to the end, the price went up. I said, went up. And then on Black Friday, went back to a price that was higher than the price initially. I said, wait a minute. So you went up and now you're going down, and then I'm going to wait for Cyber Monday. And on Cyber Monday, they made a discount and brought it to the price that initially I would buy it on Thursday if I would not wait. So all those things are things to appeal for you to take a quick action. The zero interest. Oh yeah, you will consume much more if you don't have to pay interest on that. Of course, in many things they will get your interest. You might say, Pastor, yeah, so what? So what's the problem? If we want something now, if you're not taking something later, what could be the problem of that? Well, I'll tell you what's the problem. Let's go back to the marshmallow experience, and let's see how that can apply to your life as a victorious, successful Christian, as a head and not the tail, and how that can apply also to your spiritual life. They didn't finish the research with the marshmallows and apples and with the cookies there. They say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to follow those kids all throughout their lives and see, depending on their category, where will they be in life throughout the years. So they follow the kids, those who couldn't resist and get the marshmallow right away, and those who resisted. And here's what they found. Some people think, you're not going to die. The problem is not dying. The problem is, how are you going to live? I had an uncle, he would smoke a lot. He was 86 years old at the time, very tough, will go everywhere, walking and stuff. But he will only light one match in the morning. Light the match, lighten up the cigarette, and then lighten up the next cigarette with the first one, and the next one with the second one, and the third one, and so on. You will not, you will chain smoker, right? And he was 86, and he was telling people, some people, I smoke all my life, and look at me, I know some people that are vegan, they are dying here and there. And this is like comparing apples to oranges. The point is not how long will he live comparing others, but how long he would have lived if he was not a smoker. You see? And they followed those kids and found out this. Listen to this. Very interesting. The kids who resisted and waited the 50 minutes throughout their lives, they were less likely overweight at age 11. Well, you can say that's an obvious one, Pastor, because if they can resist food, that's what will happen. But look at this. They were less likely to use drugs as young adults. They were less likely, they had higher SATs, or Scholastic Aptitude Test, higher SATs than the other ones, and they were more successful in life in general and accomplishments in their career, in their life, in their studies and everything. You must say, yeah, I don't know about anyone that said, you know what, I'm going to eat whatever I want and then became healthy. Do you know anyone? There's even this documentary that's called Super Size Me, where the guy decided he's going to eat whatever they offer him in a fast food company, and whatever they will give him, and the doctor told him, if you don't stop this experiment now, you're going to die. And so I don't know, we all know that if we will eat whatever we want, that we will not be with good results. I don't know about anybody saying, you know what, I'm going to spend all the money I want, and I'm going to be rich. You don't expect to be rich. Or, I'm going to spend the day resting and sleeping, and then I'm going to have big muscles. Why? We have a personal trainer here. You just stay there, laying there, drinking your nice drink, and then soon, when you get up, you, man, look at this guy. I was sleeping. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. But the point is that we don't like that. So, I want to have a first statement for you, friends, for the youth, but also for the adults. Because I'm addressing you because I believe the adults, they might have experienced that. But this is a slogan. I have a slogan for my kids. When they were kids, when we did the cookie thing, I taught them this slogan. I will do what is right, not what I feel like. Can you repeat with me? I will do what is right, not what I feel like. I want to hear the kids. Can you repeat with me? I will do what is right. I don't hear any kid repeating with me. Come on, please. I will do, say, I will do what is right, not what I feel like. Okay, very good. And now there's another one. If you do what you want, you will get what you don't want. If you only do the things that you want, you will get results that you don't want. So the point is, what is more important for you? To do what you want now, or to get the results you want later. You know, if you decide I'm not going to study now, don't expect good grades later. So if good grades are not important for you and just to rest now, just go ahead and do it. I want to open our Bibles in a text that we find in Deuteronomy 30:19. If you have your Bibles, let's flip to that text. Deuteronomy 30:19. And I know it was quite a long introduction until we got to our text, but you will see now how all these things are going to come together and help you in a practical way in life. I'm going to read the yellow parts. This is God talking to his people and saying, I have set before you life and what? Death. Blessing and cursing. And then I wonder, why is God saying this at the end? Therefore, choose life, that you might live. Why is God saying choose life? Do you think anybody will say, oh, God, please, death for me? I prefer death. I don't know. I don't know anybody that will say, if you ask him, do you want a blessing or a cursing? Oh, cursing, please. Do you know anybody? Or death. Nobody's going to say that. So why is God saying something so obvious? I'm putting before you life and death, curse and blessings. Choose life and choose blessings. Why is God saying something so obvious? Because God knows there's a difference between what we wish and what we want. See, sometimes we wish good things, but what we really want is what matters. That's why in Philippians God said that he's going to put a will in us. Because we wish for good things. So God is telling us, look, I'm putting those things before you. You have to have an intelligent choice of life and blessing. It will not come naturally. We all wish life and blessing, but when the rubber meets the road, we need to be intentional in wanting life and blessings. You will not just wish for you to be rich and do nothing, not work and anything, and not find investments or something and just will happen. You don't have to be a religious person to believe this and understand this. It's common sense, you know. That's why the Lord is telling us this. No one wants to directly choose death. So the problem is not what we are choosing directly or wishing. The problem is what we are choosing indirectly. And this is where I want to take you today. Choosing well requires two things that I would like to talk about today. The first one is self-control. Have dominion over self. And now I want you to do this. Sometimes as young people we feel like, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. Self-control is not a religious thing. If you want to succeed in life, the same self-control that is required from you for spiritual things is required from you for material things. There's no one out there without self-control that has succeeded in life, even if they are not religious. I'm going to read some sentences from people that are not religious. This is not church people. This is not Adventists. One of them says like this: self-control is the ability to resist temptation and follow good plans for the future. There's another, this guy makes lectures about companies. He's a millionaire also. He explains and has motivational lectures. And look at what he says. He says, what will make you successful in life is to do what must be done, when it must be done, whether you feel like or not. I'm going to repeat this. To do what must be done, when it must be done, whether you feel like or not. And then he summarizes this with this sentence. He says, anyone can do it when they feel like it. What makes the difference between successful people is when they do it even when they don't feel like. You see, this is not people talking about church and religion. This is practical life. If you don't learn in life to have self-control and to do things that you don't feel like because they need to be done, at the moment they need to be done, because our tendency is always saying, later, I will do, oh yeah, it's good. And I go, of course, I'm going to do it. Later. It's like I usually say, the wives ask the husband, right? Hey, honey, could you fix that for me? And what he says, honey, if I say I'm going to fix it, I'm going to fix it. You don't have to remind me every 6 months, right? I'm going to fix it. I'm going to trust me. Trust me. It's not that we are not intending to do it. We just postpone it. You know, look at this. How we play with now and today. We want now and today for pleasure and fun. And we want later or never for duties and responsibilities. Did you notice this? Now, I'm going to give you an equation. It's not mathematical. If you use now and today for pleasure and fun, plus later or never for duty and responsibilities, equals problems and consequences later. The good formula will be now and today for duties and responsibilities, whether you feel like or not, equals later and forever for a good outcome. And I'm not only talking about heaven, because some people have this idea that heaven is a monotonous place where we're going to be from cloud to cloud, playing our hearts, and everybody so holy. But if you stop to think that heaven will get you the opportunity to accomplish all the projects you wanted, or most of them, that you wanted to accomplish here. For instance, would you like to learn an instrument? You have an eternity to do it. Would you like to learn a skill? If you think about anything in life, if you decide I'm going to be a specialist in photography, how much information and knowledge is there just about black and white photography? If you think I'm going to be a specialist in video, how much information about video? My daughter has decided to learn Korean. And it's like, for me, just looking at what she's studying is overwhelming. It's a lot of information. No matter what the field you choose, if you go and research on internet, there's a lot. It takes an eternity to learn them that. Can you imagine in heaven, you spend 500 years specializing in piano, Then another 250 years specializing in trumpet. Then you say, you know what, I'm going to take a break from trumpet. Now I'm going to go to violin. And after 1,500 years, you say, go back to piano, and you still remember everything. You didn't forget. You're still with the same skills. Can you imagine that? You can learn whatever. It will take forever because those things are infinite to learn and more information. So self-control is very important. Self-control, if we fail on that, we will have consequences in life that are harmful. The second tool that you'll need. So what is the first one, please? Self-control. Can I hear everybody saying, please? Self-control. Self-control is not an Adventist word. We didn't invent that. Okay? It's not just in church that are teaching you self-control. The world doesn't want you to have self-control because they make money out of you. If you drink the drinks that will make you addicted, they will make more money. If you eat the food that will make you addicted, they will make more money. Let me tell you this. Satanists tempt Christians and the world to transgress on the things that the Lord tells them not to do. But in the satanic church, they are not allowed to do it. You see, Satanists tempt the people to eat meat, produce and promote meat, but they are not allowed to not be vegan or plant-based. Isn't this something weird? I saw an interview. Madonna, she was in 2005 considered the greatest promoter of Satanism in the world. Madonna. And she said, Madonna, you will say here, I'm kind of using that. It's an Italian name that she chose. Right? Madonna is the Virgin Mary. Madonna. My madam. It's like saying madam. And she was being interviewed by Larry King, and Larry said, with that voice from Larry, I heard that you don't let your kids watch TV, your daughter. And she said, no. And Larry said, you don't? No, I don't. She said, no. She's not even going to watch my interview. And she quoted several websites that were showing the malefice of having the kids watching TV and all this stuff. You say, wait a minute. So you don't let your daughter watch you, but you want my daughter to follow you to where you're not leading your daughter. So I want you to understand that all those things that I'm talking about are not spiritual things. They are general things that also apply in spiritual life. That's where it all comes to. Sacrifice. Look, somebody defines sacrifice like this. Sacrifice is letting go something good in order to achieve something even better. Oh, my friend, this is beautiful. So this is the way it works. It is good to lay back and be idle. I'm going to let go of this in order to achieve a better body later. You see, it is good to eat this food now. I'm going to let go of something that is tasting good in order to achieve better health later. Sacrifice is letting go of something good to achieve something even better. Now, youth, this is not from church and religion. This is for everything in life. You won't get rid of this if you say, I'm going to leave the church. I'm going to just... you will still be nowhere if you don't apply this to your life, even if you don't have anything to do with religion. I want us to understand how important this is. The question is, what is good and what is best? So sacrifice is letting go of something good in order to achieve something better. The question is, what is good and what is best? And to answer that question, I have a children's story. Wow, Pastor, you took almost half the sermon to come to the children's story. The bad news for them is that I said half the sermon. They were already hoping it was the end of it. But it's not really half. I'm like 2/3. Okay? Pay attention to this story. It's going to tell you what is good and what is best. This is the story about Robert. Robert is this young man here. Okay? They had a birthday with the cousins, all the cousins together because it was one of the cousins' birthday and they were going to have a get together. But Robert had a problem. You know what was his problem? Does anyone want to risk? What have we been talking about the most? Eating. Robert had a problem with Anybody here likes eating?
Everybody can.
No, they are not going to have lunch today. Nobody likes eating.
That's right.
Oh, Ron Dwayne's going to eat. Okay? So, he had a problem, but he didn't have only a problem with eating, although you can see he's not overweight or anything, but he was a little bit selfish with eating. He wanted always the best and the bigger things for him. And he will not even think about others when it comes. Do you know anybody like that? So when he would come to food, he will just think about himself. So as the food started, here's what Robert started doing. As they were serving the fruit, he went right away and pow, put his eyes on an apple and said, I want that one. Oh, that's the one. So when the moment came, he was not even looking at anybody. He just went and grabbed the apple. Woo! And he says, I got it. But when he turned the apple to buy it, oh, it was all rotten. And Robert was like, oh man, whew, this was not a good move. Do you like rotten apples? Do you like rotten? No, you don't. Me neither. Me neither. So Robert was looking at the apple and was like, well, now my chance is to go to the next food. So the next food was, what is that? Do you know what is that? This is a vegan, plant-based. He looked at the tacos and was like, ooh, I'm going to attack those tacos right away. So he was looking who was in the book. You know those kids that even when we are praying for the food, they are already like this to check what they're going to eat and to check what. Yeah, Robert was almost like that. He was, that is the biggest taco there. That's the one I'm going to tackle. So he attacked the taco right away. But when he turned, the taco was half empty. And he was like, I can't believe this. My apple was rotten. No, my taco is half empty. Who will make a taco half empty? Who in the world? So Robert was starting to get really disturbed. He says, well, my hope now is dessert. But I have to revenge on dessert because my meal was really not that good. So when the carrot cake was coming, Robert was almost pushing everybody. He looked like a football player when they bump on each other. I'm not recommending, it's not good. And he's just, and he just grabbed the slice, and as he gave a bite on that slice, this thing is rotten. This is really tasting bad. I don't understand. Whew. And he was really unhappy. Oh, the family was coming home, and his siblings were talking to him, oh, what a nice get-together. Oh, the food was this. Oh, the food was that. And they noticed Robert was not that happy. They said, Robert, is anything wrong with you? And you know what Robert said? He says, something is wrong. I only picked the best things, and I had only bad stuff. And he says, to make it worse, my stomach is hurting because it's empty. I barely ate. But then there was something I ate, probably that cake or that taco, that is really making my stomach hurt also with pain because something was rotten there. So I'm hurting for empty stomach and hurting for little food. And he was really frustrated. And everybody was looking at him so sorry. Oh, I'm sorry for you. We had a wonderful meal. It was a wonderful meal. But I'm sorry. And he was almost crying. What Robert didn't know is that the moms, his mom and his aunts, they said, yeah, Robert has this problem. We have to give him a lesson. So here's what we're going to do. We know already what he's going to choose. He's going to choose the biggest stuff, the shiniest stuff, the best stuff. So we are going to play with this to see if he gets a lesson. And he ended up getting his lesson. But I want to tell you something. Satan knows what you think is the best. And he's not merciful like Robert's mom. When he appeals you to things, he's like a fisherman. A fisherman is not going to put the worm on the hook and then a sign saying, careful with the hook. He's not going to do that. Okay? He's using the worm to get you to get the hook. His goal is the hook. And Satan is doing the same thing. Look at what the Bible is telling us about what is the best. Look at this. There is a way which what? Seemeth right. But the end thereof are the ways of what? Death. You remember when God say, choose death? What God say is, don't choose what seems to be the best. Because many times, of course you don't want the hook, but many times when you focus on the worm, That's when you are hooked. So it says, there are ways that seem just like a worm, but the result thereof is the hook. It's a, even what? Let's put this to modern translation that is still faithful to the original. How would you translate even in laughter? Huh? Even in fun. Sometimes you think, I want to have fun. Even in fun, the heart may be what? Sorrowful, sad, pitiful. You see, the end of that mirth, let's find a better word for mirth. What could we say? Enjoyment. The end of all that joy and fun is happiness. I remember, party, thank you, party is a good one. I remember the contrast of coming from the nightclub with all that and that guilt in your heart of knowing you shouldn't have done something and you were doing it. And sometimes the Holy Spirit will try to address you there and you try to shut it. We'll talk later. You know, sometimes we are enjoying it, but it's not as we seem. I call it spiritually the credit card effect. Satan allures us as with the credit card. Satan's philosophy is get what you want now and pay later. Have you heard people saying like this? We don't know about the future. What we have is now. We don't know if there's a heaven. Well, this is what we have. After that, who knows what will happen? We have to seize life now. This is Satan's philosophy. It's the credit card philosophy. Buy whatever you want. We will talk about the bill later. Don't worry about the bill. When the bill comes, what happened? Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember once that I got a person that I was kind of interested in, and it was overseas, and I would call, and then my bill arrived. Christ is suggesting a different proposal. He's saying, endure now and achieve even more later. You know, the two options are good. Some people, sometimes parents will tell you, oh, Satan's option is not good. Oh, no, Satan's option has a lot of good stuff. It's just not the best and has a high price for such a little good stuff. And Christ's option is exactly the other way around. So, I don't know if you have watched those contests, that we have the host there is saying, hey, okay, so now we're going to see something here. This guy, you just won $1 million. And the guy said, woo, $1 million. But now I'm going to give you an option. Do you want $1 million now, or what is in the box? Have you watched those contests? And the guy is there with his nails. And some people are shouting, the box, the box. And other people are shouting, the money now, the box. And the guy's thinking, well, if I get $1 million, it's a lot of money. Oh, okay. But maybe I don't know what's in the box. And usually they have a lot of money there. And he has to decide. And some people will say, you know what? $1 million is $1 million. At least I have this. And they grab the $1 million. And then they open the box. And there were then $37 million, $70 million. And they feel like, almost fainting. Right. But it's a risk. They could say, well, what if what is in the box is less than $1 million? At least I have $1 million. Now, let me tell you this. Satan knows that. So he's shining $1 million in our face. Say, heaven in the box. The Bible says that the eye has not seen, neither has entered the heart of man the things which God has prepared. So God is telling you, I'm going to give you a hint. There's $1 million that Satan is giving you. I cannot open the box before you choose, but I'm going to assure you there's a lot more in the box. And Satan knows how much is in the box, and that's why he's alluring you with $1,000 or with $1 million. Have you heard when the insurance company says, okay, we would like to sit with you and come to an agreement. We are acknowledging
that we did wrong, so we are offering you $5,000 to cover for that. Usually, you know what people will tell you? Don't take it. They know that you will go to court and rip off $25,000. That's why they are offering you something now for you not to get more later. And you see about that's a good money. This is exactly what Satan is doing to us. It's exactly what Satan is doing to the youth. I'm going to shine $1 million now so that they don't even think about the box. And some people, when the Europeans were coming to the Americas, the Portuguese, for instance, they will bring a lot of shiny stuff and give it to the Indians. They will put it on their feathers and be all happy. And in exchange, they will give them the gold. The gold worth something. Those shiny stuff worth nothing. But Indians were all happy that it was shining. Some of us, we are all happy walking around with the shiny stuff that the devil is giving us instead of the gold that God has for us. What does Paul say? Don't let anyone take your crown. Satan knows what is in store, and he's trying to convince us. Friends, I want to close by bringing to you a concept, two concepts combined. The now and later concept, which is some of the good stuff, the best stuff, are not that good now, but will be repaying later. Some of the not so good stuff, they are very good now, but will cost expensively later. So this is the first concept. The second concept that I want to share with you is direct and indirect happiness. Satan wants to convince us all about direct happiness. So things that will bring you joy directly. Drugs bring joy directly. You try them, and it's amazing, and you go for a trip. But the price that you pay later, alcohol, I was seeing this teenager that was sentenced to life in prison. My friends, when you are in the thing you just think about now, you just think about direct pleasure. But there are things in life that, although they are direct pleasure, they are indirect misery. For instance, people that are immersed in social media, it's proven they are the most joyful when they scroll, but from all of the people, they are the ones that are more depressed. This is not me saying, this is not the church saying, this is the statistics showing. They get in more depression because of the frustration that comes out of it. Now, washing the dishes is not direct pleasure. You don't get the pleasure by rubbing and scrubbing the pans. The pleasure is on the result. Sometimes you're thinking about how happy mommy will be, how fixed the house will be. Many of the things in life that are the best, they don't give you direct pleasure, but they will give you indirect results. And if we don't learn this, self-control, sacrifice, now what must be now, even if I don't want to postpone other things for later, and also direct and indirect pleasure. Friends, I want to close bringing you a final thought. The Bible tells us what must be for today and now. It says, today, if the Holy Spirit is talking to your heart, don't postpone. Don't say, I'll start Monday. Don't say, I will start in my next paycheck. Don't say, I will start in the next cycle. It's today. He says, if the Holy Spirit is talking to you today, and if you apply this principle to life, you will be successful. If there's something that needs to be done today, don't leave it for tomorrow. Do it today. You will be successful. And I want to close with one lecture. It's not my lecture. I want to share another TED lecture. I would recommend everyone in this room to watch this lecture. This lecture helped me a lot. Tim Urban, he has a lecture that is called, and this is the last thing I will share with you today, it's called Inside the Mind of a Master Procrastinator. It's a very funny lecture. He makes it very humoristic.
But I wanted to bring the concepts that he said that are from, he's not a religious person, he's not an Adventist or a Christian or Adventist that I know. He's just a secular person doing a secular lecture. But I want you to see how the same principles apply to spiritual things. And this is an amazing lecture. And I would like you to really pay attention to this as we close. Okay? Inside the mind of a master procrastinator. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands if you are a master procrastinator. But we all have at least a little bit of this. We might not be masters, but we are probably PhDs already in some of those areas. But look at the things. He says, I'm going to take you to a trip into the mind of people when they procrastinate. He says, this is our brain. The regular brain, the brain of a regular person. See? He says, in the brain of a regular person, you have the rational decision maker. The rational decision maker visualizes the future, sees the big picture, make long-term decisions and plans. But then the mind of a procrastinator, and it might be at a more or less extent, has another inhabitant, which is the instant gratification monkey. Now, I want to introduce you to the instant gratification monkey. He says, he lives entirely in the past and entirely in the present. He has no remembrance of the past, and he's not even thinking and has no knowledge of the future. It's like the future and the past don't exist. For him, there are only two things. It's now. It says that the instant gratification monkey thinks only about easy and fun and now. So, the rational decision maker thinks about whatever makes sense, while the instant gratification monkey thinks about what? Easy and fun. Those are the only two words that matter. Are you following me? This is what goes in the mind of a procrastinator. So, and then he says that when the things that make sense are easy and fun, they get along very well. If we are doing something that is important and I'm enjoying it, oh, everything is fine. The monkey and the rational decision maker are okay. The problem is when, sometimes you have to do some tasks that are hard, but that will lead to good results in the future, and you don't want to, but they have to be done. So the rational decision maker wants to do that, but what do you think the instant gratification monkey feels like? So no. Let's go to what he calls the dark playground, and I will explain soon what he means with that. So he says, sometimes the rational decision maker will say, oh, you know what? This is the perfect time to get some work done. Sometimes it can be, it's a perfect time to go study. Oh, it's a perfect time to go practice an instrument. Or it's a perfect time to go study the lesson, read the Bible. Or it's a perfect time to pray. It's a perfect time to go to bed. But the monkey would say, no, I don't think so. I think we could, before we do that, that's important, but before we do that, I think we could go surf a little bit of internet or go to social media. And he started the battle there for the control, for the steering. And the rational decision maker is saying, no, I think we should go. No, it's just a little bit. Then we go do that. Let's make an agreement here. Let's first have a little fun, and then we go and study that because you will be even more rejoiceful. And the rational decision maker will finally agree with that. And soon the monkey takes over the wheel, and here we are scrolling in another post. Oh, I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm just going to click another post. I'm just going to see another situation with a person, and I shouldn't be doing this. But soon the monkey takes over, and the rational decision maker has no longer control. I don't know if you are identifying with this, with things that you should be making and you're not. And this is why they call it the dark playground. Because yes, you're having fun, but you're always carrying this guilt.
Oh, I should be studying. Oh, I should be in bed already. Oh, I've been here for 2 hours. Oh, look at the time. But you're divided in between these two things. We want to do what is right, and at the same time, you're having fun. He says that this is what happens most of the time, but there's a moment where something exceptional happens. There's a third person that I want to introduce to you. Are you ready, kids? So we have the rational decision maker, the instant gratification monkey, and now I want to bring before you the panic monster. Every story has to have a monster, right? Who is the panic monster? The panic monster is never there. So all the story goes into between the instant gratification monkey and the rational decision maker. But the panic monster shows up when there is a deadline. You know, when you have to deliver that paper, when you have to present that song, when you have to present the lesson, when you have to know something, do something, and now the panic monster shows up. And he shows up and everybody's frightening. You see, this is, in fact, Tim says, is the only thing that the instant gratification monkey fears. That's why they call it the panic monster. So everybody goes, the panic monster! And you know what happens next? The monkey forgets all about fun, forgets all about it, and runs away. You know? So when you have to deliver that paper out of time, the monkey's not there. When you have to be ashamed with a situation that was not accomplished, a payment that was not done, the money that you don't have for something, the monkey is not there. And my friends, I want you to understand now the deepest thing that he found out. He said, most of the procrastination goes with this. But I want you to understand. He says, you have a paper assigned to you and a due date. You make a beautiful plan. Or let's say, and he gives this example, he said, let's say you have a thesis that you have to present and a due date. So you make a beautiful plan, step by step. First month, second month, third month. But then, when it's time to start fulfilling and following that plan, the monkey starts showing up and says, you know what, I'm not feeling like doing that. I'll do later on. I'm not inspired today. I'll do later on. And he keeps going. And he says that 3 months turn into 2, 2 months turn into 1, 1 month turn into half a month, then a week. And when you wake up is when the panic monster shows up 3 days before the deadline. And now you have to do in 3 days what was supposed to do in 3 months. Or you have to have the money for 3 things that you were supposed to take in time. And he says, this is not a big problem. And this is the part that I would really like to call the attention of the youth. He says that when he posted this, he had a lot of people identifying. He says doctors, engineers, people from all the ways of life, people that were really skillful. They say, I have this problem. I have to deal and battle the instant gratification monkey all the time. And he says, but there was one trend that he noticed with these people. And this is the part, if you don't remember anything from this message, I would like you to please remember this part. He said, I found out there are 2 kinds of procrastinators. The ones that are involved in procrastination that has a panic monster, like a deadline, a payment, and the ones that are involved with procrastination that has no panic monster, and it's even worse, are things that don't have a deadline, like your career, your family, your health. And those things, as people are moved only by the panic monster, they don't panic. They just keep procrastinating, postponing, and postponing. And he closes by showing us a graphic, and he says, let's say that each one of those squares, probably from where you are, you don't see the squares, but let's say that each one of those squares is a week of your life if you're going to live 90 years old. And he says, it looks a lot, but if you stop to think, if you are on your 20s, all of this is already gone. If you are on your 40s, all of this is already gone. And he says, when I started receiving all these emails from the people, I started feeling a deep frustration because the little procrastinations on every week turned out to be a big procrastination of their entire life. And they were now in their 50s and 60s with great frustration for what they didn't accomplish, for the things where the panic monster never showed up. And when he was saying this, I was thinking, you know what? This is a big frustration in life, but this will be even a bigger frustration in spiritual life. You don't notice the result of the bad decisions you make spiritually right away. There's no panic monster. You know, in the past, if you touch the ark, the thunder will come right away and you will die. If you come with a fire that is not what it should be there, the lightning will come right away, you will die. And some people think, oh, God was so bad then. In fact, you know what? That was better. Let's say the parents will go out for a weekend. Imagine all the crazy stuff the kids will do. And when they come back, they say, hey. But let's say the parents are going out for a month, for 2 months. Can you imagine the chaos that house will be when the parents will come and all the consequences? So this is exactly what is happening. We became mature now. God is not giving consequences right away. There's no panic monster. But the consequences of what we are doing and choosing are eternal and will come. And I'm not only talking about the bad stuff. I'm not only talking about the people that are drinking, the people that are smoking. I'm talking about us. The consequences of not preparing for the coming crisis will be terrible. Ellen White says, I saw many without a shelter. In our daily, after daily activities, we postpone the preparation we should have. We don't study how we should. Ellen White says that sometimes we look at the crisis and imagine it worse than it's going to be, but it's not so for the last crisis. Whatever we can imagine cannot even fathom what will really come. How long have we been postponing our preparation because we are procrastinators spiritually, because there's no panic monster to show up right away? Friends, this is the same concept. It's serious for our lives, and it's serious. We are coming to a time where the results of the preparation we are doing will all show up. We have inspiration telling us not only that many will be found without a shelter, but many stars will go off on their shine. People that we thought, that even they probably thought they were ready. You see, the story of the foolish virgins, they are not people that are, I'm going to choose death. I'm going to choose curse. They want blessings. They want life. But they were not watchful enough for the things that really matter and for the preparation that they should have. Brothers and sisters and youth, if you are young, a kid, a child, this is the time to start developing the ability to resist 15 minutes to get and achieve something even better. If you are in the youth, you might be questioning all your spiritual life. You might be questioning the things that your parents taught you. But I want to tell you that there's no way to get rid of the laws of life. If you don't develop self-control, if you don't develop a spirit of sacrifice, if you go and do whatever you want, you will be miserable in your life and a failure. You might end up being a homeless. We did a lot of work with homeless people, and I tell you, there are people like you and I, but with bad decisions and sometimes unfortunate situations in their lives. So even if you don't want to be spiritual, you need those abilities. And I want to tell you something, the worst thing, if you believe it or not, Moses tells us that we must learn to number our days and ask God to teach us. Only God can really give us conscience of that. But this is what God tells us. Without me, you can do nothing. It's all theory. You may go into Buddhism and think about controlling and all. Only God can give us this control. Some people may be very, very self-controlled with some things and discipline in things in life, but other things are not. Only God can give us this. I want to make an appeal today. Whatever you decide for your life, you cannot put at the side of your plate those virtues. Inspiration calls it the active virtues. She says there are passive virtues like meekness, patience, all those are good, but we all need active virtues. The dynamics that will make us succeed in life. You know, Moses was the meekest man in the world, after Jesus, of course, but when he was needed to take an action, to rebuke, or to move forward and open this, he was there doing those things. Friends, you can choose to go life without God, but still you will need self-control and spirit of sacrifice to succeed, and only God can give you that. So my wishes for you for 2022, as Brother Boykin said, we don't know what is awaiting. My brother-in-law sent me the trailer of a movie that is coming out. It's called COVID-23. And you know, when Hollywood started putting all those, that's the way they do prophecy. They tell us what they are planning to do. And my friend, this is not going to get better. It's not going to get any better. I'm going to ask the same question I asked you again. Since this pandemic started, you are getting aware that the world is really coming to an end. The things that are predicted are starting to happen. What has really changed in your life? What actions have you taken? How many of those boxes, those weeks, have been passing without a change? This is my piece of advice to you. Yes. Commit your life unto the Lord, and your plans and your thoughts and your wishes will be established. Trust in the Lord. How? With all your heart. And the most important part is not trusting in the Lord that we struggle with. We all want to trust in the Lord in the future. But in the present, the most critical part is lean not unto your own understanding. This is not only for liberals, this is also for present truthers. Don't think you know enough prophecy. Don't think you have done enough reforms. Don't think your life is enough prepared for the crisis because you'll be surprised like the foolish virgins. Lean not in your own understanding. And the sentence I love the most is, be not wise in your own eyes. This is so hard. Without Jesus, it's impossible to do this. We all think we got it. We all think we are getting it. And this is critical. Friends, I pray that you will go before the Lord aware of your inability to do it. You know, when Moses thought he was ready, he was not ready. And God came to him and said, let's go. Moses says, no, I cannot now, Lord. I'm not ready. Lord said, now you're ready. If you feel you're ready, maybe it's the first sign that you are not. Because the 140,000, after passing all that time of trouble, they still are praying and feeling they are not there and didn't confess enough. So this is the posture that we have to start acquiring right now. And this is my appeal to us as a church. It is not going to get any better. In fact, I correct myself. It's going to get even better. We are going to get closer and closer. It's going to be wonderful. There will be a Sunday law coming. It's going to be wonderful. We'll be persecuted and finally be committed and finally have communion with God. It's going to be wonderful. We will be so chaste that we finally will be a live witness to everyone. And people will be turning to the Lord. But it's not going to be easy. So I would like to invite you to sing with us our last song, 305. Give me Jesus. What I like about this song
is that it's as simple in the lyrics as, you know, those Negro spirituals. So simple, but so deep. Like when you sing, Lord, I want to be a Christian in my heart. Lord, I want to be like this. It's so simple. This is what we really need for 2022. Less of ourselves. We need the spirit of Elijah and John the Baptist, that he must increase and I must decrease. We need more of Jesus so that there will be less of us, because we cannot make it. We need, like Gideon's army, our vessels need to be broken so that our torches may shine. Only then we will be able to give a loud cry and win this battle. Let's sing together. Let us stand at the sound of the piano and sing, Give Me Jesus.
You guys bow on your knees with me. Father God, we come to you in need. There are a lot of us, even in the midst of us today, Father, that are struggling with this decision, the here and the now.
Amen.
Father God, please help us to come to a decision, Father, to surrender all to you, to give up this world, to give up just a few short years of pleasure.
Amen.
For eternity. Please, Father, help us make a decision. And I pray for the young people today, Father. And I pray that this message will appeal to their hearts, Father. Please, Jesus, help us to make decisions. Even as parents, make a decision to serve you, Father, with our whole heart. Father, at the end of the day, it's not worth it. And I just pray that we will all, even as a church, make a decision to do what you have asked us to do.
Amen.
Help us to put aside our complaints, our bickering, our backbiting, our gossip, and everything. and help us to serve you with a faithful heart, Father. Help us to do the work that is right before us right now. And Lord, I want to pray for the pastor's family. I want to pray for all of us as a people. Help us to love each other, Father, as Christ loved the church and gave himself. Thank you, Jesus, for everything that you're doing and what you're about to do. In Jesus' precious name we say, amen.
Amen. I want to wish you all a happy Sabbath and a happy 2022, because the Christian's happiness doesn't depend on what is going to happen. Our joy is not attached to the things of this world. So it's always from above, which means that the sun is shining no matter how many clouds are underneath it. So may the Lord grant you a happy